Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 24th episode of Kentucky Go Digital Live. My name is Brooke Whitlow, and I'm the Instructional Technology Coordinator for Hardin County Schools, and I'm so excited for this episode. I cannot wait to get into the meat of this. But before we get started, I want to introduce our team that we have here today. First, we have Elaine Abernathy. She is a Technology Integration Specialist in McCracken County Schools. Hey, Elaine.
Hey, guys.
Elaine's going to be running our technical aspect of our show today. And we are also joined by Courtney DeRossett and Heather Worrell, and they are somewhere special today. Heather, tell us where you are.
Yay! Hello, everyone. Courtney and I are in Pike County here for the Fire Summit. And I did not know a lot about the Fire Summit until I joined the team at KDE. And I came to find out that FIRE is an acronym that stands for Forging Innovation in Rural Education. And so this is a big deal, hashtag REFIRE. So Courtney, this is her neck of the woods over here in Eastern Kentucky. So I would love for her to share a little bit about where she is. It looks like her face may be frozen. There she is. Hey, Courtney.
Okay, I'm really excited. I just got surprised by Dr. Marty Park and Jeff Sobolski, the total rock stars of KDE technology that are here with us at the Fire Summit. What this is a showcase of really our students in Eastern Kentucky. And what KVEC does is they empower our leaders and our teacher leaders. And today is that showcase of hundreds of teachers that are giving the opportunity for kids to create things. And I'm actually sitting with Dr. Park and Jeff Sobolski in a tiny house. There are 8 tiny houses that students have worked all year long with the help of KVEC's funding to what they call Build It Forward. And they actually build the tiny houses all year long, a huge collaborative effort within the districts, and then they auction them off, and the money that they get from the auction, they build another one every year. So it's totally sustaining. What's going on with Heather right now in her area are all the presentations of the teacher creating in their classrooms. So I'm going to go really slow with Brooke's direction and show all of the goodness of this tiny house. Amazing. And the storage. Lots of things they thought about in the tiny house. It's totally ready to go. So if anybody wants to buy one, the auction will be online. That's not a plug, but kind of. And here are the guys that put all the work into it. Again, there's 8 districts that worked on this, and the kids completely did it. Everything from the carpentry to the electrical. This is as real world as it gets going on at the Fire Summit today. So I'm happy to join in and out.
That's really cool. I had always heard about the Fire Summit, but I didn't really know what it was or not a whole lot. So thank you. That's awesome.
I need to give one shout out that this is Leslie County's tiny house we're sitting in, and all these students go to Leslie County, and they have put in all this work, and they built this with their 2 hands.
It's amazing.
And it's amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Courtney and Heather. And so today on our episode, Heather is going to be running our Q&A over on our live YouTube channel. And so if you have any questions at any point during the episode, just pop them over there on the YouTube channel, and we'll be sure to get those answered. If you are joining us live right now, do me a favor, grab the link, KentuckyGoDigital.com, stick it on Twitter, on Facebook. Listen, you guys, this is an episode you don't want to miss. And I want everybody to see what our guest today has to share. So we are joined today by Kirk Biggerstaff. He is the superintendent of Cumberland County Schools. Kirk, you want to say hi real quick?
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here.
We are so excited. I was telling him earlier before we went live that I have been looking forward to this show more than any other show. No offense to previous guests on our Kentucky Go Digital Live, but this one has really been special because I'm really passionate about the topic that we have today. So before Kirk gets started, give you a little bit of context into what we're talking about today, which is Google certifications. if you are familiar with Google certifications, there are 4 different levels for educators that are offered. Type in Google for education certifications in Google, because I can never remember the name of the address, but it's always going to be your first hit. So it's edutrainingcenter.withgoogle.com. And so when you get to this website, you're going to be able to see the certification levels. So what we're going to be talking about specifically today with Kirk is our educator level 1 and our level 2 educator certificates for teachers. Our educator level 1 is going to be like your basic knowledge of Google and using G Suite for education in your classroom, in your school, in your district. And that's really what we're going to focus on today. You'll see that this is all free online content that's available for educators. I mean, I said teachers, but this is for any educator. This is certified staff, classified staff, district leadership, school leadership. This can literally be for anybody that is in education. You click right here on Get Training. It's going to take you to the different modules that exist. It's going to ask you to sign in because the cool thing is that it tracks your progress as you work through the training center. One of the things that a lot of school districts are doing is they're using the online content, but they're all supplementing the online content with things that they're doing in their own district. For us in Hardin County, I run an online classroom. We call it Driver's Ed. And so it's a supplement to this free curriculum that exists on this training center website. So you can see here fundamentals. And these are your different modules that you have that you work through. And the really great thing about Google certification is that it is not just here, click here, do this. Here's how you log in. Here's how you make a site. Here's how you make a form. It teaches you this technology through effective use of technology integration in your classroom. It has really great pedagogy, really great outside the box ideas that are embedded into each of these lessons. And so each lesson and each unit that you go through, there's unit quizzes at the end to test, which, we'll talk more about the actual exam part towards the end. And then when you're done, you click here to actually become a certified educator. Level 1 and level 2, you have your fundamentals and then you have your advanced training. And if you are somebody out there who already has your level 1 and your level 2, you can begin to work on these 2 certifications down here, which is Google Certified Trainer and Google Certified Innovator. And I was telling Mr. Biggerstaff earlier that it's really neat with the timing of this website because the Google for Education Certified Innovator application process literally just opened, and there's usually 1, maybe 2 of these academies that exist in the United States per year. So this is a prime time to really start to dig into that certification if this is something that you're interested in. And so both of these opportunities here have really transformed me personally in my professional career, just in the communities that I'm a part of and the ideas that I've been able to share and learn and grow with other people. It's just really powerful. So as I mentioned, as you're listening to Mr. Biggerstaff talk through his content today and what he's doing in Cumberland County, there are lots of different ways for you to get involved with Google certification. So if you have any questions during this episode, again, pop those into the YouTube Live or on Twitter, and we'll make sure that we get those answered. So now that you guys have some context to this, I'm going to pass the mic over to Mr. Biggerstaff and let him.
Hey, Brooke.
Yes.
Real quick. So Dr. Biggerstaff, I want to make sure to give him a shout. But the other thing is Brooke, I think currently at the last count, we have 5 Google certified superintendents in Kentucky so far. So if a superintendent out there is listening and I don't have your name on the list, I would love to add you because the number is growing. And Dr. Kirk Biggerstaff is one of those superintendents. And so we're really excited to feature him today.
I've been excited about it, been a little nervous about it as well. But you can call me Kirk. Don't worry about titles. That's ridiculous. So you can just call me Kirk.
I know you worked hard for that, so I want to make sure that I call you the appropriate thing. Listen, if I ever become a doctor, I'm gonna make my kids call me Dr. Mom, Dr. Brooke. So I'm just saying, I just want to make sure that I formally apologize to you for that. So.
No, you're fine. But in Cumberland County, we have really embraced Google. And I was just going to kind of go over and share my screen here, go over basically where we started and kind of lead up. About 3 years ago, our middle school wanted to embrace Google, and they wanted to start a Chromebook initiative. We had some Gear Up funds that we were able to really get that going with our middle school, and that basically was a catalyst for the entire district to start embracing everything Google. At this time, all schools have some form of one-to-one initiative. So then we had Heather Worrell come in with the Go Digital training. That was a year or so ago, and she trained all the administrators, with the Google tools and that kind of thing. And then our administrators then went to our teachers and staff and helped train them in the digital learning with Google. And this all kind of snowballed, I guess you could say, into the fact that we really prided ourselves on the fact that we had Chromebook initiatives in all schools. We had teachers who were embracing the Google tools. We had been trained with, Heather and the Kentucky Go Digital Network. And just within the last year, we got to thinking about this and really racking our brains in how can we take this embracing Google to the next level? Because we have Chromebooks in each school, but we want to make sure that our teachers, are capable and qualified to utilize those tools with teaching and learning. So that really led to an aha moment that we had as a district leadership team, and me in particular. I said, why don't we take this to the next level? Why don't we require all instructional staff, certified and classified, to obtain Google certification for level 1? That sounds, great, like a great idea, but obviously there were questions, that we had to answer, such as, how much does it cost for a teacher to get Google certified? Because obviously I wouldn't want to require them to do something for school that they would have to, pay for it themselves. And then let's think about time. How much time is it going to take in order to study for the Google exam and then take the test and that sort of thing? So we came up with two different ways to alleviate those concerns. And first of all, we used our district Title I funds to pay for the costs associated with the Google exam. And I think currently, and you all correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Google exam is $10 now to take. And so that helped alleviate that problem that we saw in the future. And then we also granted professional development time for the planning and the actual taking of the test. So I felt good about where we were going with that, because I felt like that we were being reasonable in the fact that we are actually already embracing Google, and then we're going to help offset the cost. We're going to help you with professional development as well with the Google certification. Now, obviously there were some teachers throughout this process who struggled a little bit, because as well as I do, that the Google exam is not something that you can just snap your fingers and pass. It's a very, very time consuming, somewhat difficult exam, especially if you've not been utilizing the Google Drive regularly. So what we did is we wanted to support our teachers, and we wanted to support our classified staff. So teachers who had passed the test, they offered study sessions for those teachers and staff who were struggling. Our district CIO, she also offered study sessions, 2 at each school. The main thing that I wanted to convey to my staff was this. This is not something that's punitive. We want this to be about growing with your knowledge of Google and how to utilize that with students. It was more of a growth mindset when it came to Google. I had one teacher who emailed me, and she had actually failed the exam twice, and she was exasperated over it. And, I just emailed back to her and I said, listen, what you need to do is you need to utilize Google on a regular basis. You need to do that. You need to take that time first. I said, do that for a while. Then you'll be ready. So if that's at the end of this school year when you're going to take it again, or if that's next school year, let's not get caught up with all of the details and worry about, if I don't pass this, are you going to take away my teaching certificate? That's not what this is about. This is about getting us to be more knowledgeable about Google and the tools that Google offers, so we can be more effective more effective educators. And in all of this, I also had the moment of, well, if I'm asking teachers and instructional staff to get Google certified, well, guess what? That means that I have to get Google certified too, because I'm not, as the superintendent, going to ask teachers or any staff member to do something that I wouldn't do. So, I had to think about that long and hard. And I said, you know what? I've got to do it too. Because at that time, I was having a little bit of trouble myself getting my mindset changed to Google. Because you know what? Change is hard. But in that embrace myself, I converted my entire H drive to the Google Drive. And it pained me because I was so used to what I was used to.
Kirk,
yes.
I remember you talking about that pain when I was in your district. Like, you at first needed a little push, and you have that really good director of student services or something, is it Dr. Parson?
Yes.
What's his? Okay, he had been the middle school principal. He really helped you along through that discomfort, because it is, uncomfortable when you're growing and trying to think anew. And I remember your struggle with that a little bit.
Yeah, and that's, I think that's natural for anybody who is used to doing what you've always done. So, getting myself out of that comfort zone was hard. And so, I realized that it is difficult for people to change, but I knew that this is the direction that I wanted to go. I knew this was the direction that I wanted my district to go. So I forced myself to use the Google Drive, and it all started by converting my entire H drive to the Google Drive, which took like a whole day, believe it or not. But once I converted myself to the Google way of life, then I started using Drive constantly. I started using docs and sheets and slides and forms. And Keep, oh my goodness, I love Google Keep. Can I get a shout out for Google Keep? I used to have all these paper notes everywhere around my desk, and it would drive me insane. And then I started using Google Keep, and I'm like, I love it. And so now, I'm Google all the way. I use it all the time because it's available to me everywhere. There are no limits when it comes to Google. And I realized that I had to get Google certified too. So once I felt like I had transitioned myself over to Google, I felt like I was ready to take the exam too. Now, believe it or not, I passed. And let me tell you something. Here are some of my personal takeaways with Google certification. First of all, you have to use Google in order to pass it. You can't just say, oh, I'm a techie. I know about technology. I can go in there and pass that test. No. It takes time practicing, utilizing, working with those Google tools and using the Drive regularly. And, like I talked about the teacher who was stressed about it, there is stress involved. I felt like I was ready when I took the test. I didn't realize that it was going to be 3 grueling hours of tasks and multiple choice questions. And I'll be honest with you, I was stressed. I had to use the bathroom. I was stressed, because you're videoed. Those are things that people need to know about the Google certification process. You're videoed. You have to really work through the task and show that you are able to maneuver around Gmail and YouTube and Hangouts and sites and all these different tools. But once you pass that test, you feel accomplished and you feel, hey, I had never really worked extensively with Google Sites, but now I have a knowledge. Now I have an understanding of how that works. So it really opens your eyes to different tools that Google has to offer. And now, I know many of you all may be wondering, this is what, Cumberland County is requiring of their teachers and instructional staff. So are they actually doing this, right? That's the question that many may have. So I polled the principals and asked them, and as of today, 48% of teachers and or instructional staff are currently Google certified. So I'm very proud of that, considering, I didn't want this to be, you have to pass this or you're fired. That's not what this is about. But, people get scared about things like that. So I'm proud of that number. And I'm also proud that 95% of the remaining teachers and instructional staff have, started a study session, have, taken it once and they may have failed, but they're on what I consider to be on track to be Google certified before the start of next school year. So I just think that that's awesome, and I think that it's
a mic drop emoji on those 2 slides, because that is huge. Like, let's not glaze over the fact that 48% of your teachers and instructional staff are Google certified. That is so huge. I just did my percentage, and we have like 7%, and I thought we were like rolling. So I mean, what you've done with this is really incredible. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that this is huge. 48% is crazy, and then even 95% being on track and ready to be certified by the next school year. That is
what I think really, Brooke, that one of the things that has helped that is the fact that, I went to my CIO and I said, listen, some people are really struggling with this, and I do not want this to be something that people, are dreading. I want this to be something that they're embracing, that they want to do. So can we do something to help those who are struggling? And she has had 10, 15 people attend those training sessions. And the teachers who have passed the test already, they are helping train teachers too. So I really think that the support there has been beneficial to at least getting those who aren't Google certified on track to get certified.
I think what you just said, the point that you made about the teachers who are already certified being a support to the teachers who are working towards it, is really powerful. That's sort of the model that we used here in Hardin County as well. The very first year that we had our HCS Innovate Teacher Fellowship, we really all kind of worked towards Google certification. And then once we all kind of got certified in our tech cohort, we started to migrate back out into the schools and be a support system to the staff in the building. And I just want to give a shout out to Kim Durant. She's an elementary school teacher at Meadowview Elementary. And Kim has been working so hard to be a support system to the teachers in her building. And she meets with her teachers after school twice a week, just to be a support. Hey, what questions do you have? Whatever. And so I think the support system from like the staff to staff, teacher to teacher aspect is really important in this. Me as a district level employee, I offer a district level support system. But some people aren't interested in that. They want the one-on-one of their their partner teacher or somebody in their PLC really supporting them and helping them. And I think that's especially powerful in, kind of helping some of your people who may just be new to Google for education. So.
Right. And, again, for districts who may be thinking about implementing something like this, you do have to think about those support systems, because I will tell you that many of my instructional staff members do not utilize technology on a regular basis. So hopefully this pushes them, out of their comfort zone a little bit to think about, how can I use Google? Maybe this is something that I need to start helping support the teacher that I help. Maybe this is something that I need to utilize on a more regular basis, because let's just face it, some of our instructional staff don't even utilize email on a regular basis. So I'm hoping that this whole initiative will help, push everyone into the next level, because ultimately everything that we do should be a benefit for our students. And I think that this Google certification is really an initiative that ultimately benefits not only our staff members and their own knowledge of Google, but ultimately our students.
We talk about that a lot, Dr. Biggerstaff, about how it trickles down, and you're modeling that and doing that for your staff. And it's definitely, I agree that when they use it in their personal lives and in their daily lives, it trickles down, and then they feel more comfortable to use it for their students, and then their students end up using it. So I know that that's proven, and I would love to see data that shows that exact thing, but definitely.
Thank you. And I couldn't agree more. And I wanted to go over a little bit to show the audience some of the things that we are doing in terms of Google. Every school has a living calendar, and that was introduced to us by Heather Worrell. So shout out to Heather when she came down here and helped train us. Thank you. And really that training too was very beneficial because it got all of the administrators on board, because it has to start from the top, and then those leaders become models for their teachers. And so we really, really, embraced the living calendar because they bought into that. When Heather showed them what you could do with the living calendar in terms of school efficiency, school communication, they wanted to do that. So I wanted to show even Heather, from that time to now, some of the things that we were doing with Google. Because, like I said earlier, Google is helping our students, it's helping our staff members, it's helping our culture. And that's ultimately a deal breaker. And you all know that as well as I do as school administrators. Culture is king, right? So the living calendar at Cumberland County Elementary is used for all school activities, gym, cafeteria usage, substitute teacher management. They have a slide deck with announcements that is out in the hallway. All teachers use Google Classroom regularly. They use forms for PD and planning hours, sign-in sheets. All lesson plans are shared now as Google Slides, and they are shareable among all staff. And they also have developed a walkthrough document using forms with an Autocrat add-on that automatically sends that to the teacher. So that's some of the things at Cumberland County Elementary. Here's an example of their living calendar. I think it really shows that they are using that. If you see at the bottom, there's a link for morning announcements, a link for gym reservations, some of those things that you just don't think about, but what a great tool to make that a more efficient process and to also increase communication among all staff members. Here is their slide deck. This is showing, this sits out in the hallway, the main hallway there in the front of the building. Shows the fifth graders had toured the Capitol and other announcements as needed. And you're going to see some duplicates in this, but I still just wanted to let the audience know these are some of the things that you can do with Google. And I think that, the Google certification really rolls right into this because that increases their knowledge base when it comes to utilizing all of these different tools. At the middle school, living calendar for up-to-date school activities. Every teacher uses Google Classroom. Student data tracking is utilized in sheets. Lesson plans, again, are in slides at the middle school, too. And they use docs for student information, PLC agendas, faculty meetings, and they utilize forms for surveys. And here is an example of their living calendar. Again, very informative, and it's used widely by all staff members. Here's an example of a lesson plan that's developed in Google Slides. And if I'm not mistaken, I think every school in the district now requires teacher lesson plans in Google Slides because of the shareability of that and how it really streamlines that process, because you all know that lesson plans can differ vastly from teacher to teacher. So this really kind of streamlines that process, and it also allows all teachers to see each other's lesson plans. And so there's an accountability piece there with that as well that I think is important. And this is an example of a Google slide that they have going in their cafeteria TV. And I just put this one on here because if you see here, it says the link is on the Google Classroom Advisory page. So see, we're integrating Google in not only just a slide deck or not only just the classroom, but in multiple ways are we interweaving all things Google. Now, at our high school, they're also utilizing the living calendar for schedule events. They have the slide deck. They're utilizing the Google Classroom. They have, sheets for data tracking, just much like the other schools. But one thing in particular that I wanted to highlight here was the fact that our principal at the high school does what he calls a flipped Friday focus using Screencastify. And this, here's an example of their living calendar. I just think it's amazing that they are utilizing this even with tardies to class. I mean, how genius is that? And how good is it that we're getting all of our teachers on the same page? I love it. And see, here was an example of his Flip Friday Focus. And if anybody, out there in the audience would like to see an example in action, I didn't know if it would play through this platform or not, but if anyone wants to get any examples or see anything that I've showcased today, then you can feel free to email me at any time, because I'm sure Mr. Dotson, our high school principal, would be fine with showing that to principals, because I think this is great. Even as a superintendent, I said, listen, this is something that I think that I should do every week for the district. So I think it's just fantastic that we have our leaders who are embracing this, and then that just trickles down to everyone else. Here's an example of the slide deck they have going on in the high school. And then we also have a central office living calendar, because we felt like that we needed to be models as well, and we need to all be in this together. And then at the end of April, our district is migrating to Gmail. So we have a lot of different things going on in Cumberland County, and I am certainly excited about the different Google opportunities and programs, initiatives, whatever you want to call it. We are definitely making progress with Google in Cumberland County.
Okay, I have a few questions for you, sir, before we roll on. Some of them are my questions, and then some of them came in from our YouTube live chat. But I want to know, so we talked about how 48% of your teachers and instructional staff are already Google certified, with 95% on their way and on target for before next school year. So is that just level 1? Are you going to have any kind of incentive or push for level 2? Or what is your vision for this beyond next school year?
Well, this is just for level 1. And to be quite honest with you, I had not thought about level 2 yet, because I was just thinking we've got to get through level 1 first. However, you make a good point, and it's really sparked an idea for me. You have, various ends of the spectrum. So you're going to have some people who are, I'm ready to go with level 2. So I think that obviously I would be remiss if I held them back. So I think that at some point I need to convey the message that if you're ready to do level 2, the district will pay for that too.
So my next question, are they earning professional development credit officially through this initiative?
Yes, the ones who take, for instance, the ones who may have spent 3 hours working on the exam. I don't think that there's any more professional learning that can occur than through this process. And even the ones who have failed, I've told those teachers as a reassurance, if you want to document the time that you spent in study sessions and preparation, even though that you have failed, and I've had some to fail it twice, document that, and we will give you professional development credit. That's the least we can do, because again, I really, really wanted to push the fact that I do not want this to seem punitive in any way.
Well, that was my next point that I was gonna make too. Let me go back just a second though to the PD. I just wanted to make sure that all of our viewers know, and just to offer this kind of as a resource to you guys. But if you are new to Google certifications, everything that we've talked about so far in this episode is definitely applicable to all of the educators in your district. And if you're a superintendent watching, or maybe district leadership, or maybe you're just a teacher who wants to talk to your district leadership about offering some kind of initiative with Google certifications, I just wanted you guys to know that these exams are time-stamped. So when you log in and you start your exam, you finish your exam, you get an email that verifies the time that you completed the test. And so, from an audit perspective, from like the district level professional development, that's exactly what is needed to be able to confirm your professional development. Now, obviously we've talked about before that that's district decisions that, they're the ones responsible for making that. So we're by no way saying this is what you can do all across Kentucky, because those are district level decisions that have to be made. But I just wanted everybody to know that the exams are time stamped. And so the time that you put into that is verified. Additionally, the training that is on the EDU training center that I showed you has minutes that documents exactly how long, or an estimation, I guess, of how long it'll take you to complete that module. So there's a lot of resources for district level professional development who, or even site coordinators like we have in Hardin County. Every school has a professional development coordinator. And so it's really easy to take all of this content and to be able to bring that into your online PD system or however you manage professional development in your district. So all of that is definitely something that can be done, and it's being done obviously in Cumberland County. We're doing it in Hardin County, and I know lots of other districts are as well. Another thing too that we actually just started back in August in Hardin County is offering ELA credit. And so if you are a district out there and you want to encourage your district leadership to get on board with Google certification, I have a write-up already, and you're more than welcome to pop me an email, and I will share that with you. Take it. That has been approved with the Kentucky Department of Education, and I'm more than happy to share with you guys out there. So it's already done and documented, and it has been approved. So our district leadership in Hardin County can receive ELA credit for doing these Google certifications because, Kirk, you've been an inspiration to me just in the initiatives that you started in Cumberland County, and I really wanted to be able to offer that kind of incentive for our, school and district leadership to be able to pursue certification because it's just so valuable. So, okay, I have another question for you. I know, I literally wrote them down because I just admire what you're doing, and I want to make sure we get all the information from you before we close out the show. But let's imagine that there's a superintendent out there watching or a district level administrator. What is your advice to them to bring this type of initiative to their school district?
Well, in looking back on what we've done, the very first question, of course, of all superintendents is how much is this going to cost? And I know that you referenced that the old Google exam was like $75. Well, obviously that would be a huge cost burden on the district, especially, in a very large district. For instance, Hardin County, is a large district from where you are. But when I found out that it was $10, I said, listen, this is something that I think we could do. I think it's reasonable. And I think that the cost is worth the benefit. And I think that if superintendents and district leaders, if they're bought into Google, then they're gonna make this happen for their district, because I think that they understand if they're utilizing Google on a regular basis, and I think that we should be as administrators, we should be walking the talk. So for us, when I found out it was $10, and then I go to my Title I coordinator, and she says, "Hey, I've got some money," it was a no-brainer for me.
Right. And I want to mention too, just going along that same track that you mentioned with the cost of this. So the level 1 is $10. The level 2 is $25. And you mentioned using Title I funding in your district. And so another option for districts out there, if you're a district administrator and kind of looking for a way to fund this initiative, we literally wrote this into our Title IV grant that we just did for the effective use of technology. And so we are hopefully soon, we'll know for sure, but hopefully we're going to be able to purchase vouchers for our teachers to be able to really, push this movement along. So there's a lot, especially with that federal funding and those different title programs, there's lots of opportunities to be able to fund this initiative. Now, we're not rolling out vouchers to everybody, but who are generally interested, that's where we're going to invest our money. I believe what Heather was really talking about is getting more superintendents across the state of Kentucky involved in becoming Google certified and really considering you as a leader for those superintendents at some of our Kentucky Go Digital regional events and doing a superintendent track to where you can share your expertise. And, there's so many ins and outs as, the leader of a district to be able to help others along the way.
I'd love to see a superintendent track launched this summer with leaders like you. You were the only superintendent summer that I saw, in the state. So kudos to you, Dr. Biggers, people to know about the good work going on with the digital culture in Cumberland County.
Thank you. I'd be happy to do that. Any way I can help, I'll be happy to do that. And any of our teachers would also be willing to share. You know, when the middle school started the one-to-one initiative, I know Dr. Parson had several districts contact them who were doing the same thing, and they said, hey, can you come to us and help us through that process? And they did that. So we're willing to help. We're willing to do anything we can to help further everyone's knowledge of Google.
You know, and
visitors too, right? A lot of districts come out to see your digital integration. So you host visitors.
Yes, we've had several districts also come to us to kind of see the setup and that kind of thing. And, you know, that's something that in education, you have to be willing to help each other, and building that strong network of learners, that strong network of everyone helping everyone else become better. And so I think Kentucky is an exemplar when it comes to that, and Cumberland County will be honored to help anyone we can.
do you remember at our Kentucky Go Digital Regional event, Dr. Biggerstaff, I totally stole your chair. Do you remember that?
No, I
did. And I was really embarrassed. And then I walked off and somebody said, that's the superintendent of Cumberland County. And I remember Heather saying, oh, he's really nice. He's really nice. Don't worry. So anyway, that I just had that thought when we were talking about you being at the Kentucky Go Digital Regionals, because I was so impressed even last summer that there was a superintendent that was there learning and growing with the teachers across our regions. So special shout out to you, and sorry, like I'm saying sorry to you a whole lot. I've not called you by your appropriate title. I steal your chair at Kentucky Go Digital Regionals. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, come on, bro. Come on. Give me a break.
Okay, so before we close, you tell me right now and all of our viewers, what is your favorite Google app?
Right now, my favorite is Google Keep. I love it. I love the fact that it's so organized, and it still looks like sticky notes. I like that. And then when you're finished, you can even strike through and leave it on your screen, because I'm one of these people. And when I get something done, I want to see the strike through, and I want to leave it up there for a while. I say, oh, done, check it. And then when you're done with it, you can archive it. It's awesome. I'm telling you, I really like it.
We are spirit animals, I think, on that, because like I literally will write, even if it's something that I did not write down, but something I've done, I will write it down just so that I can mark it off. Are you with me on that?
I am there with you, Brooke.
Yeah, well, you need to talk to our friend Melody Stacey. She is a Google Keep queen of the universe. She is up in Kenton County, and she loves her some Google Keep. And we had like a little, when she was on this show, we had like a little Google Keep like strategy session on utilizing the powers in that. So
maybe she's got a tip sheet that she could share.
Yeah, you have to go back and check out that episode, because we totally just like stopped the show and had a Google Keep lesson. It was really fun. But I'm a big fan of Google Keep as well. And I also just wanted to kind of mention in closing that, we've talked all about Google, and we talk about Google a lot. And there's a lot of push across the state for G Suite for Education. I sometimes get a little haterade tossed my way just because I'm such a big fan and I talk about it a lot. But I think what's important to note is that whatever it is that your district is choosing, whether that is using Microsoft and Microsoft tools or G Suite, or, whatever your digital infrastructure is that you're going to go with. And, and this is something I've learned from Heather and Wes as well, just over the past several years, is, to hedgehog that concept and to really invest in that time. And I think that's what you've done so beautifully, is you've said, okay, you know what? G Suite for Education, this is what we're going to do. We're going to all do it. We're going to learn it. We're going to grow together. And I think it's important too, to really make sure that we focus on the fact that your initiative was not punitive. We have lots of good ideas out there, and there's some people, they could ruin Christmas morning. You know what I'm saying? And so we want to make sure that, I think that's one of the reasons why you've been successful, is because it hasn't been punitive, because you start making people do stuff and you start punishing them. And, I think that whole aspect of it really speaks to you as a cultural leader in your district too, and having the success that you've had. So anyway, I just wanted to mention both of those things, that we as Kentucky Go Digital are not necessarily saying everybody in the universe needs to be G Suite for education. It's working in Cumberland County. It's working for me in Hardin County. I'm a big fan of it, but I think what's important is that from a leadership perspective, you know what you're doing and you support and inspire your staff to learn and grow together.
Right, because like I said earlier, Brooke, it was one of those things where I could start to feel that whole pressure. Those teachers were feeling pressure. And so I had to get the message out loud and clear that, hey, if you don't finish this year, I'm not going to turn you into EPSB. I'm not going to take away your Christmas present. So I wanted to make sure that they understood, if it's a year from now, if it's 2 years from now, but let's be working on it. Let's be pushing ourselves toward that goal and take as much time as you need.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Dr. Biggerstaff, for sharing and growing with us here on Kentucky Go Digital Live. Elaine, would you care to show everyone how they can get continued support with all of the tools that we've talked about today?
Absolutely, Brooke. Thank you. And thank you again, Dr. Biggerstaff, for everything that you have shared with us. You are definitely leading, one of the leaders in the state. So we appreciate you sharing that. So if you are interested in getting connected with Kentucky Go Digital, we have, of course, anything on the hashtag. If you have a question or you want to make sure that you reach out to somebody or need to, or would love to share something, just put that on the hashtag at Twitter at Kentucky Go Digital. We also have a Facebook page if you're interested in that, and that will streamline you to some questions and to some conversations. And then also, of course, on the YouTube channel, we have things like the Create Companion videos that we have paired with the sessions or the events that the live shows, so that you can too take a moment and use the power of pause so that you can learn alongside everyone else.
Hey, before we close, real quick, I just popped over to the YouTube live chat and saw, I'm afraid to say Mr. Doctor, I'm not sure where to go with that, but I saw Bowling Green Independent School District, Gary Fields, who is another one of Kentucky's Google certified superintendents. So shout out to you, Dr. Mr. Fields. I don't know what to say now at this point. I'm sorry, but shout out to you, because he is definitely rocking and rolling over there in Bowling Greens.
Real quick before we go, I'm going to screen share, and because I don't think anyone in the state knows this. If you look to the right of your computer screen, you will see a Google Educator Group Leader Certifications Challenge. Our very own Kentucky Go Digital leader, Brooke Whitlow, competed internationally and was selected of one of five, the top 5 Google Education Group certifiers in the world. You'll see her name pop up there representing the United States of America. So very proud. She is one of our own from Kentucky, leading the way, not only in the state and nation, but internationally. And she earned a free trip to ISTE 2018 this summer in Chicago. So big shout out to Brooke Whitlow for all of her hard work here in the great state of Kentucky. We're so honored to have her on our team.
Thank you, Heather. As awkward as that little shout out made me feel, I'm just going to pass it back to our teachers in Hardin County Schools, because I didn't even know this thing was a thing. And it's really a testament to just the excitement and the inspiration of our teachers in Hardin County Schools. But thank you. I appreciate it. And with that being said, I believe that is a wrap for this episode of Kentucky Go Digital Live. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much, Dr. Biggerstaff. I can't wait to follow along with the awesomeness of Cumberland County. You all catch us over on the hashtag at Kentucky Go Digital, and as always on Facebook and Twitter. Have a wonderful day.
Get involved with Kentucky Go Digital. Attend regional events, like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel,